Wow. What is up, everybody? What is up, everybody? Wow, the Jaden Daniels era ending with a bang. Ending with a bang right there. Unbelievable. You know, LSU played that first half so poorly, right into A&M's hands. And it was actually starting to become the game I predicted, which was LSU losing 31-28. We predicted LSU were going to choke this game and lose 31-28, and it started to look like that. And then LSU's defense got 3 or was it 4 straight stops in that fourth quarter. I think it's like the first time all season I've seen this defense get 3 straight stops, and gave Jaden Daniels and this offense the opportunity to put the game away. They answered that call. Malik Neighbors with his 9th 100-yard game receiving. Incredible. Gets 2 touchdowns on the day. Ends with 14 on the regular season. And then you've got Brian Thomas Jr. getting his 15th touchdown of the season. Ridiculous. We're just posting this out right now. I mean, this is quite a way for the Jaden Daniels era to go curtains, because the game, nothing went LSU's way really in this game. Nothing went LSU's way. And somehow, when this third string quarterback is absolutely lighting us up, this third string guy, Jalen Henderson, is lighting our defense up. Let's see what they went for on third down. It was 9 of 18 on third down. And at one point, it was 9 of 13. And Jalen Henderson ended 25 of 35 for 294, 2 touchdowns. LSU's defense allows 390 total yards. Interestingly enough, only 96 total on the ground, even though the runs we did allow were back-breaking, big plays from Le'Veon Moss usually. And Texas A&M were dictating terms to LSU. Down by 10 points in that second half, and then LSU explodes for a 21-point fourth quarter. 21 points in the fourth quarter by LSU. Outscore A&M 21-6. Our defense finally making some goddamn plays. Raid Abdelmajid says, "Hi, my friend. LSU win the Heisman." Well, let's hope, because Jaden Daniels finished 16 of 24 tonight, 235 through the air, 4 passing touchdowns. Was very instrumental, throwing some dimes to Kyron Lacey. We're going to be showing you a dime to Brian Thomas Jr., multiple dimes to Malik Neighbors. Just brilliance from Jaden Daniels. 16 of 24, efficient once again. 4 touchdown passes, 235. And he exploded on the ground with that huge 4th and 4, 49-yard run on 4th and 4. Puts LSU right next to the goal line. Josh Williams walks it in. Incredible. LSU responded from heavy adversity against A&M here today. A&M did a lot that basically would check mark, okay, they're going to win this game. And Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Kyron Lacey having a big, huge play. They really answered the call today. You look at LSU's rushing outside of Jaden Daniels. 11 for 120 yards from Jaden Daniels. The next closest rusher is Logan Diggs, 5 carries, 17 yards. He did get that touchdown. Josh Williams did get the touchdown, but 6 carries for only 6 yards. Noah Cain, 3 carries, 12 yards. Caleb Jackson, 1 carry for 1 yard. I mean, the rushing game was non-existent for LSU outside of Jaden Daniels. I mean, We only rushed for 34 yards total without Jaden Daniels' output today. So Jaden Daniels puts together 355 total yards and the 4 passing touchdowns. Rushes for over 100 yards. He gets Malik Neighbors his 9th 100-yard receiving game of the season. Just ridiculous. Malik Neighbors goes for 2 touchdowns, 6 catches from 11 targets. You saw some bad drops today. You saw Malik make an uncharacteristic 3rd and 4 drop. You saw Brian Thomas Jr. drop what should have been another touchdown catch from him. You saw Kyron Lacey making a really bad drop as well over the middle. There just was some disjointed, sloppy play on offense in this first half into the third quarter. 6 penalties from LSU as well. Just 389 total yards. That's a low for LSU. Once again, we were outgained by 1 total yard by A&M. Interestingly enough, and they had the ball for 13 more minutes than us. They did the recipe was exactly like I expected, but for A&M to win this game against us. And that just shows you how good Jaden Daniels and how explosive this offense is when they have to be. When the backs are against the wall, this offense just presses a few buttons and they can score bunches of points. Only 7 points, just 1 touchdown in each of the first 3 quarters. Okay, and suddenly then we just explode in that fourth quarter for 21 points. Put the game away. And this was a, knock 'em, sock 'em, rock 'em type of SEC West game. The final SEC West game for LSU in program history before the, conference is going to be realigned, rechanged, no more SEC West. And it even though the points kind of looks more like a shootout type of game, it was still in SEC West form, brutal SEC West form. It was very interesting to see so many guys that LSU hunted for on the recruiting trail making big plays today. Jacoby Matthews led A&M in tackles, had a half sack as well on Jaden Daniels, half TFL, and broke up a pass as well. And then another Louisiana guy, Edrin Cooper, 8 tackles, 3 solo. He's second behind Jacoby Matthews in tackles. He had the sack, TFL, 2 quarterback hits. Bryce Anderson, this hard-hitting, awesome side-to-side safety, 7 total tackles, 3 solo. Then he also had a half sack and a half TFL. They were blitzing guys all over the place. It was very interesting to see so many of these guys. Walter Nolan up the middle as well. Shamar Stewart flying around. Shamar Turner. There's just so many different guys that LSU were going for on this defense, having good games or at least appearing for Texas A&M. And it'll be interesting to see who LSU targets in the transfer portal and who enters the portal from A&M. We got some comments from people. Of course, Raid Abdelmajid, fire the defensive coordinator. But then you want to literally hire Zach Arnett. You want to fire Matt House, but you want to hire Zach Arnett. So you want to trade terrible for terrible? What are we talking about here? That's a terrible move. Terrible move, man. Come on, man. Come on. We are presented by ReleafMed. Get your relief today at ReleafMed.com. The #1 dispensary in the great state of Louisiana, legal Louisiana. And they will set you straight. And here we go. We're going to go through some of these plays from this game. Some game flow action here. This was, people are going to say, well, Jaden Daniels struggled. Well, I would love to see Bo Nix back in the SEC. I would love to see some of these guys back in the SEC who may be like, ooh, Jaden Daniels didn't put up so much numbers. Ooh, when he's playing a real defense, blah, blah, blah. You're going to hear stuff like that. And it's going to be annoying. But all that matters is LSU got the win and Jaden Daniels put up the numbers still. Look at that little smooth throw to, that's the thing that they're going to see is, yes, LSU struggled against a really hungry, young A&M defense that actually played well against us for, three quarters. They played really strong defense against us. It was never going to be enough. It was never going to matter. And at some point, LSU's offense, were going to overpower A&M. What surprised me was that LSU's defense actually played really well in the second half. They were so god-awful for 3.5 quarters, LSU's defense. Same script, the same script. And we were actually having some great plays. We were making some great plays on first down, second down, and then it would come to third down. And LSU would be just absolutely skull-fucked on third down every time. Third down was embarrassing for LSU. It was embarrassing to watch as an LSU fan. Every time we got to third down, Jalen Henderson would absolutely rock us. They finished 9 of 18 on third down. Okay, but Jalen Henderson, look at this. Look at these passing charts from him. 3rd and 4, boom, completes that to Jake Johnson. Even though it's gets them just to fourth and inches, they go for it and get that. 3rd and 12, he connects with Aniyah Smith for 13 yards, converts a first down there. 3rd and 11, completes it for 16 yards to David Bailey. 3rd and 3, converts it to Moose Muhammad for 10 yards, another first down conversion. 3rd and 9, he connects it with Noah Thomas for 10 yards and a first down on our defense. 3rd and 7, he connects to J.D. Walker for 32 yards, first down on 3rd and 7 there. 3rd and 8, he connects with Le'Veon Moss for 7 yards. And 3rd and 3, he throws a touchdown to Jake Johnson, former LSU commit Jake Johnson. On 3rd and 3, throws a touchdown to Jake Johnson against us. I mean, it continues until finally Greg Penn on 3rd and 7, deep into the game, gets an interception. The one-handed interception that Greg Penn gets changes this game. First, we're getting some plays like that, the TFL from Sage Ryan, even though it's technically a sack. And just trying to survive this game. You're seeing Jane Daniels making some unbelievable plays right there. Bounces off a guy, smashes Harmon right there, and then gets a late hit flag right there after the end of the play. Draws a late hit. I mean, he's just so effective for this team. I believe this was on 3rd down as well. Boom, smashes that guy. Makes sure he gets the sticks. Like, he showed toughness in this game. He showed grit. This is a cool angle right here of Malik Neighbors. 13th touchdown, too easy. 13 touchdowns now in 2023. And he finished just 22 yards shy of the all-time Joshua Reed record for receiving yards in program history. I don't know. I don't understand why Malik was taken out of that game late. I mean, you had the opportunity to break that record. This was crazy. They almost called targeting here on Sage Ryan for hitting someone with his shoulder. I mean, what are we coming to in this day and age? What are we coming to in this day and age? And it just feels like the SEC refs, they hate LSU. They're willing to call any targeting against LSU. They're looking for it every time, and they're gonna try and call it. They're gonna try and eject LSU guys anytime they can. And this is the cleanest hit you could actually have from Sage Ryan. They wanted to call targeting so bad. you could feel it. They're like, they just want to call targeting on one of our guys. This was BS. And it took so long for them to show the replay. It was very tense, but it felt like he had shouldered the dude. And then look at this right there. I mean, that's just a sick play from Sage Ryan. Clean, hard hit. One of the hardest hits of the season from our defense. There's a good angle right there. It's so obvious that was shoulder to shoulder. It was ridiculous. They were reviewing it. To me, it felt like, wow, you guys just want targeting on our guys, don't you? You know, Jaden Daniels, this is a play that was special. 49 yards on 4th and 4. He can feel that pressure coming right behind him. Will Campbell gets beat for once. Guy just barely misses him, and he just goes flying up and down that sideline. You thought he was gone. I mean, this is such a special play. And anyone wants to wonder if he is the Heisman, if he should be considered for the Heisman, you kidding me? As RG3 said earlier, he is a human cheat code. He's the only college football player who's just a cheat code. And you heard Kirk Herbstreit throw his hat in and say Jaden Daniels should win the Heisman. And Kirk Herbstreit has a Heisman vote. So that was beautiful to hear. We posted that earlier. This is the play. This is the play that changed the game for the defense. We had gotten a stop before, and they missed the field goal. But when you get Greg Penn with his second interception of the year, and it's a one-handed sick interception like this, it's a special play. It's a game-changing play usually. Right here, just kind of hovering over here. Jalen Henderson makes his first mistake of the game, doesn't see Greg Penn right there underneath. And Penn one-hands that.
What?
I mean, that's the second interception this year where he's made incredible athletic plays to haul it in. The bobbling, one-handed bat to himself play against Auburn. And then this play. Just like the Missouri interception, one of the biggest interceptions of the season for us. Only our 10th as a team, I believe. Oof. And this is what finally started to just cleanse the palate for LSU's receiving core and the offense. Just, okay, we put up some yards, we've had some plays, but enough's enough. Like this game's over. We're gonna start just being ruthless, and we're gonna kill this game off. We're gonna stick the knife in, and we're gonna make sure we finish the job. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. goes up there and gets his 15th touchdown in the season. 15 touchdowns on the season. You saw Deshaun Womack come in the game and get half a sack with Harold Perkins. Harold Perkins just went off tonight. We'll get into his stats in just 1 second. But Malik Neighbors had a chance to break some records tonight, and I don't understand why he wasn't out there for the final drive to get 22 more yards to break Josh Reed's record. He has a chance in the bowl game, obviously, but Malik Neighbors was able to break the all-time receptions mark from Wendell Davis. And that was ridiculous that he was able to do that. And it is stunning that Malik Neighbors, there's almost a hesitancy for analysts to include him alongside Jefferson, Chase, some of these big-time guys from the past. And Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, DJ Chark, Dwayne Bowe, and then, of course, Josh Reed, who is the owner of most of these records. And you literally saw Malik Neighbors say, "No, I'm gonna take over this season." But it is absolutely stunning what he has accomplished in just basically 2.5 seasons as an LSU Tiger, Malik Neighbors. In just 2.5 seasons from Malik Neighbors, he's had multiple 1,000-yard seasons, 2,000-yard seasons, back-to-back seasons as well. Only a few Tigers have done that. Josh Reed was one. Tony Moss was another. Wendell Davis was another. Although those two are unofficial because they didn't count bowl statistics at the time. But if you count their bowl statistics, they both went over 1,000 yards. But Malik Neighbors has done something that is just ridiculous in 2023. He went for 67 yards against Florida State, 87 against Grambling State, 239 against Mississippi State, 130 versus Arkansas, 102 versus Ole Miss, 146 versus Mizzou, 89 versus Auburn, 121 against Army, 171 versus Alabama, 132 versus Florida, 140 versus Georgia State, and 122 yards tonight. Are you kidding me? How can this dude not be included in the list of the greats of LSU history and receiving? I mean, not only did he just pass the all-time receptions record from Wendell Davis, but if this dude just gets 22 yards in this bowl game after making that type of a catch to seal this game off for LSU, he will have 2 all-time records at LSU. 2 all-time records, career receiving yards, and then career receptions. And he's done it in a little over just two seasons, basically. He had 2021 where he played half of the season and still made the all SEC freshman team. That's how good he was and how effective he was when just barely playing. And he was probably going to be a starter coming into that season. You knew Coach O loved him, and you knew Coach O was really hyping him up and saying this guy is a dog. He's absolutely gonna either play a lot for us or start for us. And we were calling for him to start as a freshman. We knew that Malik was going to be great. We didn't predict that he would absolutely be the GOAT by the time of his ending, though. That to me is just unbelievable what he has accomplished. As much as we always loved Malik, always hyped Malik, always were in his corner, this is just stunning what he has done. I mean, all-time receptions mark, 900-yard games in a 12-game season, and I hope to God he plays in that bowl game so we can get the Josh Reed record. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games with multiple touchdowns. I mean, he got his after last season only getting 3 touchdown catches, which is just awful to even think about when you think about how open he was for most of that season and how many opportunities he had to score that just weren't coming his way. And he still went for over 1,000 yards in that season while starving with only 3 touchdowns. I believe he had more than 3 in his freshman year even. So it was like, yeah, he had 4 as a freshman. So he had more touchdowns as a freshman than he did last year. But he gets that 1,000-yard season. He guts through that really tough schedule, grinds hard, makes sure he ended the season with 3 out of 4 games over 100 yards. I was lucky to be there for his 128 yards and touchdown game against Georgia in the SEC championship game. That was absolutely epic. He went for 9 catches and 163 against Purdue, as you saw in that bowl game. Absolutely just torched him. I mean, that catch right there is just such a thing of beauty from Malik Davis. I mean, are you kidding me? Tap dances. I mean, if this guy can't get the Biletnikoff, I don't know how. But this is what we saw for a lot of this game from LSU's defense right here. This is what we saw for most of this game. I mean, this is one of their slowest players, A&M, and look at that tackling effort from Spates and Sage Ryan. And Sage Ryan had a great game actually today, but then he made some plays like that were just like, oh my god, our defense has forgotten how to tackle. I mean, look at that's like Three Stooges stuff. That is like Three Stooges stuff. Spates first is the guy who's most at fault here, because Spates is a linebacker far bigger than Sage Ryan, has to make the stop there and give Sage Ryan at least enough space and time to come and clean it up. Instead, he literally just runs through everybody. It's absolutely embarrassing. And Kyron Lacey, who was having a bad game as well, he had a terrible drop, another drop in this game. He wasn't the only one, but he had another drop. And then a bad holding penalty that may have cost Malik Neighbors the receiving record. He then answers the call and catches his 7th touchdown of the season with a brilliant play right there. Great throw from Jaden Daniels, puts it only where Kyron can get it, but Lacey has to go up and get this thing. And good God, does he. You know, I'm not the biggest Kyron Lacey fan either. I've seen some plays this season that made me just be like, what's going on, man? You're absolutely screwing your team right now. But I've also seen him catch 7 touchdowns this season. 7 touchdowns from Kyron Lacey. Incredible. I mean, that's a way to kind of answer your critics is to point at that 7 touchdowns mark, and hopefully that gets Lacey some type of momentum going into next season when he returns for LSU. I gotta plug in my battery thing here. Kyron Lacey, I just he's made so many drops this season. It's hard to say that's the guy for the future for LSU next year. He comes back and he becomes that guy for LSU. I'm not so sure about that with Kyron Lacey. 7 touchdowns is a great number, but the third guy in this receiving core should have caught 7 touchdowns. I mean, this is just a ridiculous offensive setup. This team is just something special on offense. And so when you have a guy like Brian Thomas Jr., 15 touchdowns this season, Malik Neighbors gets 14 touchdowns this season. There should have been a third benefactor from those 2 guys catching the attention of the entire defense. And so it's very good to see Kyron Lacey cash in 7 touchdowns, just under 500 yards on the season. He still was underwhelming. He was still underwhelming. He made some plays that it was like, what the hell was he thinking? Some bad drops. But at the same time, look at Aaron Anderson. Everyone, including me, we thought Aaron Anderson would come into this season and destroy for LSU. He only had 12 catches for 59 yards this season, Aaron Anderson. 0 touchdowns. Still has a chance in the bowl game to maybe get his first touchdown, but only 59 yards, 12 catches. Chris Hilton, 1 catch for 25 yards today. It was a great play from him, but that was it. And he's only got 144 yards, 9 catches on the season before this game. So 10 catches, 169 yards on the season, and 1 touchdown for Chris Hilton Jr. Pretty shocking when people were expecting maybe he would be the third receiver. And there was a lot of hype for him to be that third guy. Mac Markway had 1 touchdown this season, which is the same amount as Mason Taylor, the lead tight end on this team. And yeah, Mason had 260 receiving yards, 27 catches, and just the 1 touchdown. So a lot of people were just expecting LSU to be tight end offense, obsessively throwing to the tight ends. I kept laughing about that during this offseason when I continued to write about Malik Neighbors possibly winning the Blitnikoff and being the best receiver in America, in my opinion, not just because he's from LSU, because he's just a complete weapon. And I felt like the offense was underwhelming with him. And now look at what they're doing. They're moving him all over the place, just like they should. They're keeping everyone guessing where this guy's going to pop up, unpredictable. And Malik Neighbors has just gone off. Jaden Daniels trusts him and has just continued to feed him. And the dude almost put up a 2,000-yard receiving season this year. I mean, it's just insane what Malik Neighbors has done. It will go down as one of the greatest single seasons in LSU receiving history from Malik Neighbors. And his career, though, where's that going to end up? Because this guy's going to finish with 2 of the big, main top receiving records in LSU history, both the yards, which is insane that he's able to pass Josh Reed if he can do that with just 22 more yards needed. But now he's got the receptions record over Wendell Davis. Just insane. And Malik already had a single season receptions record with 72 catches last year. And that was the 7th all time, tied with Wendell Davis. And so he's just continued to just light it up in the stat box. Malik Neighbors finishes the regular season with 86 total catches. 86 total catches. Just crazy. 86 total catches, which makes it, let's see. He, right now, as of now, not including the bowl game, 86 total catches. Malik has the 3rd all-time single season receptions record at LSU. Let's post that real quick. I mean, just records all over wherever you look. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. now has the 3rd all-time single-season touchdown receptions record at LSU. And he's only behind Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase from 2019. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. If you're watching on LSUODYSSEY.com, if you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, wherever you are watching from, if you're watching on X/Twitter, post your comments. we will be answering all of those because things are about to move very, very fast with LSU in the hiring process here with certain coaches. So you might want to buckle up for that. We've got some interesting information coming in about that. Jaden Daniels finishes the season with 50, half a century of touchdowns, total touchdowns. That's the sad thing is someone's commenting that they don't think, Malik Neighbors is going to play in the bowl game and probably won't. But to take him out of the game with 22 yards left from Josh Reed's record, why? I mean, I get, you want to win the game, right? End the game how you should, but you're up 12 points. Get him one more catch. I understand that's why I love that Brian Kelly's our head coach. He's not like Mario Cristobal, who's going to be running to try and pad the guy's stats, get him a 100-yard game, and then they fumble the ball and then end up losing and choking, and it's insane. It's insane, but it's a completely different situation, and I just think a first down throw to Malik Neighbors, would that really hurt much? I mean, they tried to get him the ball so much today. They tried to get him this record. Dizzy Lit, my man, come join the live show. So much buzz about Ryan Day. Will he? Won't he? Will he leave to go become A&M's new coach? And Michigan stay undefeated and beat Ohio State. Interesting. Well, Ryan Day in the SEC, I would rather he not come to the SEC. It just takes a few more targets away from LSU every season. There's going to be even more tougher competition in the SEC as far as pinnacle coaches, players want to go play for. And so I'd rather he not come to the SEC. And I don't think he would be that good of a coach in the SEC anyway. But he would be an attractive coach for certain guys to want to go play for. And I don't see him leaving what he's built at Ohio State with Brian Hartline and all those Jim Knowles on defense. He's got a good assistant coaching staff there, and he's got some good stuff going for him at Ohio State. They basically have a shoe-in walk-in into the CFP if they can beat Michigan every year, and they still are going to lose to Michigan and probably still get into the college football playoff, knowing how this season will work out. And so it's kind of an annoying situation for me. I'm just glad LSU is not worried about it. Their new head coach. We don't have to go shopping for a new head coach. We got our guy, but he absolutely must make some changes on his defensive staff going into this season, or LSU are going to be in big-time trouble. DJ says, hey, I made it on here late. How you feel about all those missed tackles from Spates? Oh, my God, man. We were told we were going to see Whit Weeks today. We barely saw Whit Weeks today at all. We barely saw him at all. when we saw him, it was like, okay, he's actually keeping them on like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. He'd make some type of stop. He'd trip somebody up. You'd see his speed, and then Omar Speights would basically just be like, you know, holding on to some people, getting spin cycled in the middle of the field, like being dragged all over the place. It was embarrassing. It was like an episode of Tom and Jerry watching him try and tackle people. You know, people are going to point at Sage Ryan for some of these plays, and it's like, yeah, but he's undersized. I get why he might not be able to pull off the tackle solo. Omar Speights is supposed to be this Pac-12, linebacker of the year, muscle man, and he's literally, guys are bouncing off of him. He's literally like a trampoline, a human trampoline for this defense, and he can put up as many tackles on paper as he wants, like he did last week. He had 10 last week, led the team. It did not. It was a terrible, terrible 10. It did not look okay whatsoever. He was missing plays all over the place. Terrible gap consistency. Terrible gap. Just his assignment awareness of where he needs to be on the field in coverage against the run. The guy is just lost. How is that guy a settling influence, as Kelly once called him? Embarrassing. Harold Perkins is the real settling influence. 9 tackles led the way, 6 solo, half a sack, 1.5 TFLs. Harold Perkins was all over the place. His pressures were creating sacks for others. Great plays from Greg Penn III, though. He had a sack, he had a TFL, 8 total tackles, and then he had an interception, the one-handed interception. So Greg Penn III, probably your defensive MVP for this game. He simply just made the plays LSU needed to win this game defensively. One second. Oh, man. Yes, we won the game. That's the thing. We beat A&M. We beat them. Okay. We got the revenge. We won by 12. There's just LSU must make changes defensively. And yes, it was the most impressive second half defensive stands we've had since Mizzou. They actually made 3 or 4 straight stops and got a turnover, got some sacks. It was actually impressive from the defense finally in that second half, that last little bit there. Throughout the whole game, though, it was embarrassing from the defense, and no one can convince me otherwise. When you allow Jalen Henderson to literally ice your corners, your safeties, everyone on that team for nonstop third down conversions, fourth down conversions as well. 3 of 5 on fourth down against us too. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. A&M actually gained one more first down than LSU were able to. LSU were 5 of 9 on third down. A&M were 9 of 18, and I know that it's because we were able to get some stops at the end. They were really like 9 of 12, 9 of 13 for most of this game. They were killing us. And Jalen Henderson was doing it. 8 of those 9 were through the air. Guy was a freak. And we predicted he would have a good game against us. We actually predicted an LSU loss in this game. We predicted LSU were going to lose this game. And I'm glad I got that wrong, because Jaden Daniels now still has his Heisman Trophy opportunity there right in his sights. Is there anyone who thinks that Jaden Daniels perhaps lost the Heisman Trophy today with his game? Like that he didn't put up enough numbers, he didn't do this or that? Because I think if you believe that, you just weren't watching this game. When his team needed him most, Jaden Daniels proved he is the most valuable player in college football. 4th and 4, clear back in like the 50-yard line. We go for it. Jaden Daniels gets 49 yards, pushed out of bounds at the 3, sets up a touchdown run by Logan Diggs or Josh Williams, one of the two, and LSU are back in this thing after we're staring down a double-digit deficit. That's now Jaden Daniels' 6th win coming from behind double digits for LSU. 6. Or sorry, you know, that might be his 7th. Let's look this up right here. Let's look up Jaden Daniels' game log, like just right now, and settle this thing. Okay. Again, and what makes this really difficult is the first game against Florida State, his first game. He led a comeback down by 10. We missed the PAT that would have tied it. So that one, it's like he led a comeback down 10, and it didn't quite work out. That one hurts. Mississippi State, we were down by 10 in that game. We had to come back in that one. Auburn down by 10. The Jay Ward, BJ Ojolari play changed that game. That's 2. Ole Miss down by 17 in that game. Had to come back and win. That's 3. Okay. 3 in 2022. Mississippi State again this year, I believe. Right? Didn't LSU go down in that game? I swear LSU went down 10 points in that game. No, okay. I was wrong. No. So 3. We went down 10 points against Arkansas, though. 4. Down 10 points against Missouri. 5. So, yep, this is his 6th comeback. 6th led comeback down 10 points. Did we ever get down against Florida this season? Let's see that. Did we ever get down 10 points in that game? No, I don't think so. I think at most we were down 7. Incredible. So Jaden Daniels now with 6 double-digit comebacks led in his LSU career. Incredible. Jamer, what's up? She says, "Hey, Launer, go Tigers." What's up, Jamer? Yes, go Tigers indeed, and great to get this win. I am still very disgusted by what I've seen, though, from this defense. I understand they get the win, and I understand they made the 4 consecutive stops to end this game in the right way. There must be change on this defensive staff. There has to be change. And I'm sure as we are speaking right now, there's probably, you know, something being announced in this press conference from Brian Kelly about it. So let's wow. Jacques Doucet reports not quite getting the LSU football all-time receiving yardage record might play a factor in Malik Neighbors playing in a bowl game, Malik has said. So Malik Neighbors says he will play in the bowl game. He wants to break the LSU all-time receiving record. That is awesome. That is awesome. Yep, LSU were down. Peter Burns posted LSU down 10 points in the third quarter, and then JD5 just takes over. Yep. This really has been one of these special college football seasons in recent memory from Jaden Daniels. Just looking at his game log right now, it's reminiscent. Some of those stats, some of those numbers, just all together, just crazy. Just crazy. I mean, people said he had a bad game against Alabama. 15-24, 219 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Did have the batted pass, which was the interception, but he had 11 carries for 163 in the touchdown. I mean, he even had a tackle against Alabama. Jaden Daniels, what he has done is just crazy. And you're starting to see the wagon start to circle. And you're starting to see opinions start to become firm that we're going to give this guy the Heisman Trophy. This is going to become LSU's 3rd Heisman Trophy winner. Billy Cannon, Joe Burrow, and now Jaden Daniels. It should be. It has to be. Is Bo Nix impressive? Is what Bo Nix done with Oregon really that impressive in comparison to what Jaden Daniels has done for people who are actually watching these games? This is. I know the SEC is in a supposed down season, but you're seeing Jaden Daniels absolutely take over college football in ways that no one can stop. The only way you can stop him is by injuring him, as we found out with Alabama. And also giving him a defense that is historically atrocious, historically poor. Jamie says, very disgusted here. If Jaden Daniels doesn't get the Heisman, it's because his defense, and I blame that on the coaches, did not do anything on their part. He's being ignored because the defense allowed too many points in games. I don't think he's being ignored, Jamer. I think maybe some voters are going to, he had 3 losses, and they're going to think stupid things like that. You're going to see stuff like that. But I'm starting to get the feeling right now, Jamer, from watching as much commentating and analyst stupid talk as I do, some of these guys have Heisman votes, and they've started to say this is the Heisman winner for 2023. This is the guy. You heard Kirk Herbstreit say it today, and pretty much everyone on that panel were saying, "Yep, he's the guy. He's got to be the guy." And almost like everyone has almost fallen in line now, almost like you have to give this guy the award, like by every metric. With those who people are saying are better than him, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, when they put these names against Jaden Daniels, those guys fall away in every category except for the wins and losses, and it's because of that defense. And everyone who watches LSU at any game this season knows that's the truth. and understands that Jaden Daniels is basically like Allen Iverson when he played for the 76ers. Just a one-man team at times, putting the team on his back and just carrying them and just putting out fires left, right, and center. And sometimes he was able to, just put it all the way out, extinguish it with just such an incredible offensive onslaught that the opponent couldn't recover. But most of the time, what you saw was we had to have some type of defensive play to assist him at some point in the game, just like the college football is supposed to be, like the NFL is supposed to be, any type of football, except for the Arena Football League is supposed to be. But apparently our defense has become an Arena Football League defense where Jaden Daniels has to put up basketball scores and has to put up numbers that make Joe Burrow's records, tie Joe Burrow's records. He's got to literally tie Joe Burrow touchdown records to keep this team in games because of that defense. That's incredible to me. That's just, and if anything should paint why he should be the Heisman Trophy winner, it was this game. It was today, because up against it, everything going against him and this defense is getting worn down. They finally just give him a few stops, and look what happens. Look what happens when you just give this guy a few stops and just play like an average defense. Not even like doing special things, but just doing what an average defense is supposed to do. And you play like an average defense even just for half of a quarter. And you give Jaden Daniels the chance to put the game away, he will do it. He will do it every time. Ruthless, knife in the back, end the game. Look what that disgusting throw to Brian Thomas Jr., the absolute filthy throw to Malik Neighbors. Toe tap from Malik Neighbors, disgusting. Another drop in the dime to Kyron Lacey. This is a dude who understands what it is to be a winning quarterback in college football. And it's really sad that he was not able to contend for a championship at LSU, because he had all the minerals, the ingredients, and he was cooking the recipe. He was stirring the drink for LSU to win a championship. But that defense, Jaden Daniels was playing against two opponents every game. This LSU offense were playing against two opponents every game. The opposition defense, but also our own. And our defense under Matt House, this 2023 defense, will be remembered as the worst, because in 2020 there wasn't really much on the line. We were a 500 team. We weren't going to be contending for anything. But in 2023, we had a championship quarterback, a quarterback who with 3 losses still should and hopefully will win the Heisman. And you literally have that type of defensive showing for every game. You can't even have 1 or 2 games where you just pull the rabbit out of the hat and give Jaden Daniels one. Jaden Daniels couldn't have just one average game this season, or LSU would have lost that game. Like, Jaden Daniels had to be exceptionally brilliant in every game for LSU to even have a chance. And some of these games were far closer than they should have been. And LSU lost games that they had no business losing. Should have never lost to Ole Miss. Should have never been in a dogfight against Arkansas. Should have never let Keon Coleman just be matched up one-on-one versus Major Burns for half of the game against Florida State. Some of the defensive coaching, it was repeated mistakes, repeated errors, game after game after game, doing the same terrible personnel decisions, the same horrible schematic formation issues, over complex defense mixed with soft-ass 15-yard off-the-guy coverage. How are you supposed to tackle anyone in space when you give them that much time and space to catch the ball and get their momentum going? How are you going to tackle anybody? And that's why our defense sucked at tackling. It wasn't just the poor angles or the lack of wanting to hit somebody and commit some violence, but also how soft the coverage was. When you're off guys that much, it's just like getting in the way of a freight train coming right at you. DJ says the defense is pitiful. Almost every play, I can see where the ball should go because the coverage is so loose. Man, some of the opponents I have talked to, some of the dudes that I'm still tight with on other teams will say things about this defense that make me shudder. That make me feel like, oh my God, we're an LSU defense. Like, for instance, there's a few players on this A&M team that I was tight with because they were once associated with LSU in some form or fashion. And they said watching LSU coverage, watching their tackling, watching how they cover the run, they were like, this is one of the worst defenses we've ever seen. We have a prerequisite mandatory, like, we have to score 30 points on this defense or we're going to be embarrassed with ourselves. And A&M did put up 30 with a third string quarterback. But LSU, even though they allowed 294 in the passing game, they allowed a ton, 9 different third down conversions, 8 through the air, and let Le'Veon Moss have a few good plays, some good runs, and a touchdown that hurt us at one point. LSU still held them under 96, under 100 yards total rushing the ball, which is a shock to me. And I think that's why LSU won this game. I predicted that A&M would just take control in the running game in that second half, and they were about to do just that. But then Greg Penn III took the ball away with a one-handed interception, and LSU survived. They made a stop on the drive before that, held them to a field goal, and A&M misses the field goal. That's a swing right there. LSU didn't even score any points off of that stop either. We punted the ball right back to him. But then Greg Penn III gets that pick. Jaden Daniels and this offense goes right down there and scores. And they put this damn game away when actually given the opportunity by this defense. This defense finally makes some stops, gives their guys some separation in a time where it actually mattered. And look what happens. And that's in a game where everything went against LSU. And that's in a game where everything went against the Tigers. Like, the recipe for this game, everything for 3.5 quarters was setting it up for A&M to wear the defense down and punch in a few gutty, like, goal line touchdowns and just literally bleed LSU out. Keep the ball away from Jaden Daniels, starve us of that ball. And they did. 13 more minutes time of possession. But this defense were able to make the stops when they had to actually stand up and be counted and win and help Jaden Daniels win a game. They did just that. They stood up, made some stops, and LSU punched it in ruthlessly. LSU were calculated at the end of this game in this fourth quarter. 21 points in the fourth quarter. Ridiculous. Jaden Daniels, just in 12 games, had a 72% completion rating, 3,811 passing yards, 40 passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions, 1,134 rushing yards, 10 rushing touchdowns. Incredible numbers from Jaden Daniels. So that's a great sign. Malik Neighbors will play in that bowl game and probably just play that first half, get that record. But a chance to have the receptions record, a chance to have the touchdowns record. Not touchdowns, the yards record. He's got the receptions record already. Chance to get the yards record just 22 yards away from Josh Reed's record. I wish he had got it in the 12, regular season 12th game. I don't know why it matters to me. I mean, it's still a game, right? The bowl game. I can't believe they never counted the bowl game stats until like the early 90s. Like, that's absolutely messed up. Hey, it's basically a game where you don't even get stats for this. Like, are you kidding me? Like, they don't even count. It's just crazy. In a game where LSU were outgained by A&M by 1 yard, A&M threw the ball for 44 more yards than we did. Had one more first down than us, had 4 more third down conversions. We're way better. Two less penalties. But here's the thing. They didn't force a single turnover against us today. LSU had 4 sacks, one turnover, which we scored off of. Seven tackles for loss. 7 TFLs today. That's got to be the most of on the season. 7 TFLs from our defense. That's fantastic to see. Grapeman III had 1. Sage Ryan had a TFL. Ovia Gofu had 2 sacks, 2 TFLs. Braden Swinson had a TFL. Deshaun Womack had a half TFL to go along with his half sack. Shared with Harold Perkins. Harold Perkins had 1.5. Just loading it up with making plays in the backfield. Ashton Stamps had a chance to make a big play in the backfield, but he missed that. He missed that opportunity, missed that tackle. But he'll learn from that play. But that's another one that could have been a big play. Now it'll be interesting to see who LSU gets in this bowl game. But before we get to that, there's going to be changes all along this defensive staff. And I'm not saying every guy is going to go or this guy or that guy is going to go. You'll see very soon. But there will be changes. Great to see RG3's support. Jaden Daniels is just the 5th player in SEC history to be responsible for 50 touchdowns. Who are the other names? Joe Burrow in 2019 was 65. He won the Heisman. That was in 2019. Who's the others? 55 total touchdowns, 10 fewer than Burrow. Tim Tebow, 2007. Did he win the Heisman that year? Yes. And Florida actually lost 3 games that season. Who else is on that list? 51 touchdowns. Cam Newton in 2010. Did he win the Heisman that year? Yes, he did. 2021, tied with Jaden Daniels with 50 total touchdowns, responsible for Bryce Young. Did he win the Heisman that year? Yes, he did. So Jaden Daniels is now on a list with 4 other Heisman Trophy winners, as only the 5th player in a single season in SEC history to be responsible for 50 total touchdowns. There is no way he is not winning the Heisman Trophy. Someone's posting Marvin Harrison is the best receiver in college football, but Malik is really, really good. No, Malik Neighbors is the best receiver in college football in 2023. Let's take a look. Let's look a gander at what Marvin Harrison Jr.'s yards were. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 5 catches, 118 for 1 touchdown. Still nowhere even close to what Malik Neighbors is producing. You can't even make a comment about Marvin Harrison Jr. being the best receiver in America. Brian Thomas Jr. is having a better season than Marvin Harrison Jr. Rest my case. And Brian Thomas Jr. is like 400 yards less than Malik. Everybody, we will be dissecting this game even more coming up here in the next day or so. We're going to have an article coming out tonight at some point or Sunday morning. Keep your eyes peeled for that one. And thank you for joining us. Definitely check us out at LSUODYSSEY.com, where you're going to see all of our content in one place. That is the place to go. Definitely subscribe if you haven't. There's going to be a lot of news that we're going to be posting on there. Every offseason, we break news that becomes national headline stuff, and LSUOdyssey.com subscribers know that and see it first. So if you want to be a part of that, subscribe for only like $3.99 a month, and it's really worth it. But that's just our biased opinion. But today and for this entire season, we have been sponsored and presented by ReleafMed. Get your relief today at ReleafMed.com, Louisiana's #1 dispensary, Louisiana's #1 medical marijuana, a natural, all natural healing remedy. That's a good word. Remedy. There we go. I love it's a good song by the Black Crowes, by the way. Remedy. Great song. Kick-ass riff right there. That's some good rock and roll, the Black Crowes. Everybody, check us out on LSUOdyssey.com. LSU finished with a 9-3 regular season record. Hopefully they can get that 10th win in the bowl game. Will Jaden Daniels be playing in that game? I think he'll probably play in that game, just my opinion. Malik Neighbors saying he will be playing in that bowl game, will have a chance to break that record, the all-time receiving yards record. He broke the all-time receptions record today, passing Wendell Davis and Jamar Chase, and passed Jamar Chase for the single season receptions record, now 3rd all-time on that list with 86, and still has more even to go after that. 8 more catches, and he can be the 2nd all-time. 9 more catches. He can pass 2nd all-time on that list. Incredible, incredible day. Jaden Daniels, another 350-plus yard game. Throws 4 passing touchdowns, 21 points in the final quarter. LSU's offense is possibly only second to LSU's 2019 offense as the greatest offense in program history. And these two offenses are two of the, you've got to say it, even with 3 losses. And that is why there must be changes in this offseason on this defensive staff. Too many missed tackles, too many missed assignments, too much ridiculous soft coverage. Too many times we're wondering why certain guys are playing over others. It's clear as day. There's a lack of effort. There's a lack of intensity. There's a lack of dog. And LSU's recruiting and depth on defense has been exposed, and change has to come. Change has to come. Brian Kelly must make changes on this defensive staff, or we will see the same continuing mistakes and issues cost LSU games, cost LSU's championship contending seasons, where we have a guy like Jaden Daniels and he's not contending for a championship. That's sad. That's just a goddamn shame. And so because of that, change must come on the defensive side of the ball. And we're going to be writing about that. We're going to be covering that and detailing that. What changes are coming on LSUODYSSEY.com. It's going to be interesting for the next few weeks. I can tell you that much. Buckle up.